For a science fiction movie, it really looked real, and that's the shocking thing about it. Hello everyone, I'm Jay Mere and welcome to my review of the new science fiction war movie Civil War. And this movie is directed by Alex Garland, starring Kirsten Dunst, Wagner Moura, Jesse Plemons, Cailee Spaeny and Nick Offerman as the president. And this is a movie that I was really looking forward these last couple of weeks, and I have to say, this movie delivered. I was really amazed by this movie. For now, I can really say that this is the best movie I have seen this year so far, and I think at the end of the year, this would be very high in my top 10. I really believe so. So, what is Civil War about? Well, logically, it's about a civil war, but it's a fictional civil war. So, in Civil War, we are situated in a dystopian future in America, and America is split in two, and there are two groups fighting each other as a civil war. And during this civil war, we are following a group of four journalists slash photographers, who take a road trip to this dystopian America, in a very chaotic, dangerous America, all the way to DC to interview the president before he gets eliminated. That's Civil War. And what I really like about Civil War is that this movie is a mixture of all kinds of genres. First of all, it's a science fiction movie. And Alex Garland, I know him mostly as a science fiction director-writer. He directed amazing sci-fi movies. Like the movie Sunshine, I really admire that movie. He also wrote 28 Days Later. He gives an image of a dystopian London in that movie. Very interesting. But I do not like all his work, like not the biggest fan of Annihilation. But Civil War I really love. And I kinda have difficulties to see this as a science fiction movie. Because they really label it as a science fiction movie for the reason that it's set in the future. It gives a dystopian world, a world that does not exist. This is not the world we are living in. There is no civil war. But in that regard, it's a science fiction movie. But it's not a science fiction movie. Also, in the day we are living now, the world Alex Garland presents in this movie, it feels like it can happen everywhere. So, for a science fiction movie, it really feels real. And he went for realism, even though the things are not real. So it's very interesting. It's actually a very good what-if story that Alex Garland presents to us. And it really works. But the genre that really works for me in this movie is the action slash war genre. This is a really war movie. It's a civil war. We see a lot of war scenes in this movie. There are a lot of fighting between an army and rebels that are shooting at each other. There are action scenes in there, so not only war stuff. It works as an action film, as a thriller, because there are a lot of intense scenes in this movie. One of my favorite scenes of this movie is when the journalists come across these characters, and one of these characters is played by Jesse Plemons. Now, Jesse Plemons is an actor that I always like to see in movies or shows. And he either plays these very sweet characters that care for other characters, and then on the other side he plays these really crazy dudes, a little bit psychotic, but always in a calm way that you really can feel the psychotic nature of these characters. And in this movie he plays such a psychotic character. And you really feel the intensity of this scene. You are also afraid of what might happen to certain characters during this scene. It's a very well crafted scene, well directed scene, well acted scene, and I was actually there was a scene that I absolutely had no idea how it was going to end. So I was very amazed by this scene. Like I was amazed by almost every scene of this movie. Also, the third act of this movie, that was masterful. That was, by the third act you can actually tell this is a war movie. Because we are immersed into this battle that was going on. So it really works as a war movie. And I can actually tell that this might be one of my favorite war movies of all time. It was that good. And what I really admire is that it is absolutely not a political movie. Because in the beginning I was not really, did not really know what was going on. Like I did not know what the political situation was, the history of what happened before this, what started the conflict. You as an audience are giving little information. But now I have seen the movie, I think that was also a very good decision. So, also because we are following those journalists are meant to be objective, neutral, which they are. These characters are very neutral. They just follow stories on whatever side it is. So as an audience, with the little information we got, it's also very difficult to pick a side. And that was also very interesting to have such a war movie, which you don't know what side to root for. There are no bad guys or good guys in this movie. They are just stories of war. That's very good decision. And also the last genre is a road movie because they are going to a trip, but it's more a war movie than a road movie. And the characters are amazing. Our main character, Kirsten Dunst, very glad to see her in another movie. I don't see her often in recent movies anymore, which is a shame because she did an amazing job in this movie. She plays a very experienced photographer. You can see that she has seen a lot of stuff during this war. But for me the best character is actually the character that is played by Cailee Spaeny, a young actress who also did a very good job in this movie. And I think this could be her year because she's also in Alien Romulus that will come out in August. And if that movie works, this would be the year of Cailee Spaeny. So those two actresses played very, very well. And I really loved their dynamics, their character relationships between each other as the experienced photographer and the rookie. So that also made this movie work, to follow these two characters. And like I said, I love this movie. I was very amazed by this movie. It's one of the best of this year, I can easily say that now. Because I'm convinced that this will easily make my top 10 at a very high position. So I highly recommend this movie. You should definitely check this movie out. It's a shocking movie, but that's all the purpose of this movie. This movie is meant to shock you. So this was my review of the movie Civil War. I hope you liked my review. Always be free to share your thoughts on this movie below in the comments. Would love to read those. And if you want to see more reviews of me in the future, always be free to subscribe to my channel. And till the next time.